Okay, we are finally live and we're a little late. We are so sorry for that, but we had a little technical issue. Actually, not really technical issue. We had a little internet issue, just Alvin and I were talking just before the show, getting ready. We were on time. We were excited. We actually were waiting for a couple of minutes. And then suddenly the internet just blocked me, just told me no. I'm just going to gap you out for a few seconds. So I had to restart my router, restart my internet, restart my computer, and finally, luckily, the internet came back again. So we are back. Apologies that we are a little late, but no worries. It's only 9 minutes, so we are still okay. So again, a very big welcome again here at Cornerstone Live, the CX Live that we are coming to you these days every single day. It's like a daily show, and every day we bring very important guests that have, are either in a special field, have something to share, and sometimes we also have our own cornerstone people. But whoever we bring on board, we always want to bring as much value as possible. And as slowly the current visitors come here on a Sunday night, I first of all want to wish everybody, all our Christian friends, a happy Easter. Hopefully you all had a wonderful breakfast or a wonderful Easter lunch, or whatever you have done today. It probably was a little bit different than other years because of our MCO, but still, I hope you had a very happy Easter and getting prepared for the week ahead. Now, without further ado, I would really like to introduce you our guest. Let's keep it to a very short introduction, so we asking our we're back again. Before joining the banking industry in 2006, he was attached to the bank till 2015, and then eventually moved on to his current job as a mortgage consultant, a senior associate at a company called Whole Strong Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Alvin Lim. Alvin, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Taco. First of all, thanks for the invitation. Pardon?
Yeah, of course. No, we were happy to invite you, Alvin. So thank you so much for being with us today. And we're getting many people on board right now. Hi, Genji. Hi, Mervin. Hi, Scott. How ya long? Hi, Vinny. Hi, Carol. Again, apologies, we were a little late. Unify let me go for a little while, but then they accepted me back in. So now we can finally get started. So, Alvin, let's get started also, right? Thank you for being with us tonight. It's really great that on your Sunday evening you want to, do this for us and share some of your wisdom, some of your experience, everything that is going on. The title of today is basically, how banks fight a crisis. You are very close connected with people at the banks. You work together with banks, as a mortgage consultant. But let's get started. We have now been in an MCO for 26 days. How have you experienced that so far?
Well, if I say that I'm doing great, I doubt anybody will believe it, because this MCO actually affected, I can say that, all the industry. So to be honest, the first week is pretty torturing to me, because in view of my line, right, where usually 80% of my time is doing marketing outside. So because of this MCO, I spend 90% of my time at home instead of going out for marketing.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, that's interesting. So, a lot of people don't know you, Alvin. You're a first-time guest with us on this live show. Some people do know you, but would you like to share with us, how long have you been in the banking sector, closely in the banking sector, and what specific career path did you go through so far?
Okay, I joined this industry in 2006. So coming end of December, it will be 14 years for me in this banking
14
industry.
years. Wow, 14
Yeah.
years. Okay.
And I was attached to 3 different banks previously, until I decided to join a broker's company. I mean, a mortgage broker company in 2015. Sorry.
Okay.
So if the reason I'm doing that is because I see more opportunity in servicing client. compared to directly in the bank.
Okay.
Why I say so is because here is like a one-stop center to customer
Back
which
again. So
will say, hello,
yeah, still
is the line
there.
there?
Yeah, still the line here.
Okay, for me here, okay, it's like a one-stop center, where actually is I can save a lot of customer time as well as agent time. Okay, the reason I say so is because, for example, normally a client who buy a house, normal procedure is they will go through a lot of banker. Okay, so when they go through different bank, they need to prepare a lot of sets of documentation. And each time they meet one particular banker, they have to explain everything over again on their, particular everything. But when they go through us on our side here, what we do is we only require one set of document, and from there we will filter it. That means one set of document, and after they explain on their detail, profile everything, we will see which bank actually cater on their documentation. Because if you are long in this line, you will know that different bank actually they have different appetite. Some they prefer salary worker, some they prefer self-employed. So we will go through the customer document and see which bank is more suitable for their document in order to reduce the rejection rate.
Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Very good. Very good. Thank you for explaining that. In the meantime, actually, a lot of people are coming on board, Alvin. You seem to attract a lot of people that want to talk and listen about what is happening in the banking world, right? Eugene just came in, Priscilla. So everybody, again, a very big welcome. To get our guest for tonight is Mr. Alvin Lim, that has been very closely connected with the banking sector, now working as a mortgage consultant. Senior associate within 𝐒𝐲 𝐶𝐫. I said it correct, right? 𝐒𝐲 𝐶𝐫. I like the name. I like the name. Good name. Good name for a mortgage company for sure. I'm been very interesting to learn. Now just I know you also as a mortgage consultant. You must be always visiting clients, right? Visiting clients, going from left to right, making sure you can serve them. So it would be interesting to learn also what your daily routine right now is during the MCO. Has that changed a lot from your normal routine that you had before the MCO?
Yeah, if you ask me, as I mentioned earlier, it's like a 360-degree change for me. Okay, now I can only find things that I can work out from home. Good thing there are still banks that they are coping with this MCO where they actually allow us to do online submission without meeting customer first. Because previously, normally for bank due to KYC, they usually want us to meet up with customer to make sure there's no fraud case or anything in between. So for now, they actually reverse the cycle where we can actually get the document from customer without meeting them and submit through online. And once everything is approved, then only we do the KYC checking on that. And this is very crucial because when the buyer buy a house, if we delay too long, it might change their decision whether to proceed or not to proceed, because some people might brainwash them or So with this system where now we can submit it through online, is actually a good thing for us. And of course, one good thing I enjoy a lot is from staying away from the traffic jam, which I usually have to face.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing we're all not missing, right? The traffic jam. I think that is something that we all enjoy. That's the positive side of the MCO basically going on, right? Okay, thank you. So that's a little bit introduction about yourself. So thank you for elaborating about that. Let's talk about the banks a little bit, right? Over the past 3 weeks, we had a lot of interesting guests here on Cornerstone Live talking about the financial the financial situation, talking about the mental situation. But with you, I would really like to dive deeper a little bit about the banks, right? Because we all remember the 2008 financial crisis that basically was in the US. It didn't hit as hard in Asia and also not in Malaysia, but still we had some effects of it, right? But that was specifically a banking crisis, a financial crisis. Now we have a health crisis followed up with a maybe financial crisis, right? So I would be very interested to know, how the banks are preparing for that. How do the banks feel that, what is going on, right? So in order to understand that a little bit better, let's go before the MCO, right? So how was the banking sector doing before the MCO, basically? Your opinion, please.
Okay, throughout last year, actually, the sales was still okay. Okay, and things started to slow down beginning of this year. As a lot of potential customer investor, they actually put their handbrake, just to sit low on the situation. And if you ask me, I would say it's actually due to our national polity issue. So there are a lot of uncertainty there. So in fact, what a lot of people do is they actually refinance their property as a standby cash. It's just so in case the market wasn't like now, actually it's pretty bad. What there are actually opportunity from desperate seller who can't hold longer on the property. So they are actually looking for this good deal.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So that was kind of before, right? Already a little bit under pressure, right? But of course, we didn't have the MCO yet. So first, your opinion, right? Do you believe the Malaysian banks are doing a good job in this crisis?
I wouldn't say all banks are managing it well, but one thing that I'm impressed is actually the 6-month moratorium that they agreed with.
Yeah.
Because this actually helped to ease a lot of customer burden, especially those with commission-based income. Is actually their income actually dropped drastically due to this current situation because they can't go out to do any marketing or sales. Because usually commission-based, they are purely on sales.
Just to elaborate on that,
this
right?
Actually,
sorry, go ahead. Please continue.
So because as as their income drop, this will definitely actually affect their ability to service their loan promptly. So actually, this 6-month moratorium it will help a lot of customers.
Could you explain to people what that basically means, the moratorium? What is it really meaning for the bank's clients?
Okay, what actually moratorium means is they actually allow customer to defer their payment 6 months later. That means you can actually stop paying for your loan for now for 6 months, but of course the interest is still charged, just that the interest will not be compounded. That means assuming, let's say for a complete property, let's say the interest is 2,000 a month. So throughout the 6 months, it will be flat. It will not, let's say from 2,000, it compound the interest to be higher. So it actually helps a lot to clients who are unable to service their loan for now.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. That's good that you explained that. Go ahead.
Yeah, but of course, this does not affect because it does not affect everyone because some their income which is stable where they get fixed income. My advice would be continue to service on their loan because why I say so is assuming your loan is 500,000. Okay, if you take this 6-month moratorium, let's say every month is 2,000, total is 12,000. So on the 7th month onwards, the total interest that the bank will charge you will be based on 512 instead of the 500,000 that you actually owe.
Yeah.
So if you are capable to service your installment, why not you just continue paying it?
That's actually a very good.
This moratorium,
That's actually a very good point. I wanted to say, right, that if you can pay, you should keep paying it. That's what you're saying, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Now we just learned last Friday that the MCO is being extended for another 2 weeks till the 28th of April. For many was already expected. I'm sure that the banks also knew that something was coming, that not everything would go back to normal on the 14th of April, that extension was coming. However, let's talk about their business, right? Does that bring some additional pressure for the banking sector?
Definitely it will. Because as you are aware, banks are very particular on KYC, which is know your customer. Where actually for bankers, we need to meet up customer and understand their background check and etc. So with this ongoing, the banks are actually exposed to higher risk of fraud case. That's why some banks put a stop to mortgage processing till further notice.
Okay. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. So you're saying that that pressure can go up a little bit, but I mean, it should be able for another 2 weeks to keep them moving forward, right? Because they already put in a
Yes.
lot of new things into place for their clients. Just out of interest, how long do you think a bank can keep doing that? Do you think that is a long time? Does a bank have that strong of a reserve to be able to tell their clients, okay, we can just move 6 months of payments and yeah, we don't get any clients? How strong can a bank hold on that?
If you ask me, bank is actually not on a losing side because even though customer delay 6 months, the bank are still enjoying the interest. That means customers still have to pay for the interest.
Ah.
So even though there are no new business that's coming in, they will
Mhm.
still be making some profit from their existing loan.
Oh, okay, okay, interesting. So you're saying actually that they're winning on the game of the interest, right? They're actually making money on that specific part.
Yes.
Brings me to the next question. Except for the moratorium that they implemented, right? Are there any other special packages that the banks give at the moment? Do you have like an overview of what special packages they are giving in times of MCO or in times of this crisis?
Sorry to say that for now, mortgage side, there is actually none. But at the current moment, banks are actually focusing a lot on two areas, which is personal loan and insurance. As these two product profit margin is higher and is faster compared to mortgage. Because mortgage, let's say a customer take a 35 years loan, bank will only profit it, not upfront. That means they will take 35 years to maximize on the profit. So now because of the MCO, bank actually shift focus to personal loan and insurance.
Do you believe that they also shift to personal loan because they feel like a lot of people would need a personal loan at this moment?
Yes,
So
especially
they
those businessmen because a lot of them, yeah,
no, go
a
ahead.
lot of businessmen are affected because a lot of businessmen are affected because they need to, even though MCO is implemented, they need to pay for their workmanship, for the factory rental and those machinery etc. So actually it does affect.
Yeah. How expensive is it to get a personal loan right now? How is the interest rates?
It's actually pretty low if you ask me. Now actually, if you have customer have a good profile, they can go down as low as 4.4, which is
4.4.
pretty low if you ask me. Yeah, and
Okay,
they can
okay.
go, some bank is offering up to 300,000.
Oh wow. Okay.
So actually, there's actually good and bad thing because we can actually maximize the, from this. Why I say so is assuming a customer take a loan now, okay? Some bank they are offering up to 85% margin due to MCO, they want to reduce on the risk. So
Yeah.
they believe customer who take 85% is those who are joining. So that means when customer afford to come out with 50%, 15%, they are not an investor. So
Mhm.
let's say customer doesn't have the differential sum of 5%. They can actually use this personal loan as a second option
Okay.
because the interest rate is pretty attractive if you ask me.
Interesting, interesting. Let's talk about mortgages a little bit, right? Mortgages for homes. A lot
Okay.
of our listeners right now, they are either, they're agents, dealing with clients, both projects, sub sales, even land, all these kinds of things. Mortgages, that the mortgages keep moving forward is of course important. You said banks don't really focus on mortgages at the moment, but are they still active giving out mortgages?
Yes, they are still giving out. Just that due to MCO, there are more document required. For example, maybe they will need a 6 month backup liquidity because to show whether customer can afford because nobody knows how when will this MCO end.
Yeah.
So, they are worried that some customer they might be able to purchase the property now, but 6 months down the road, whether they will be able to service the loan or not is another issue. So
Okay.
certain bank they will require 6 month backup now to see they can continue to service this loan even if MCO continue.
Interesting, sir.
And
So,
some banks, if you ask me,
oh,
yeah,
go ahead. Sorry. No mean to interrupt you.
yeah. And some banks actually are taking, like I mentioned earlier, they are taking additional initiative where they actually allow staff to submit their case at this current point of time from home, because it's not easy to go out now.
Oh, nice.
So there are flexibility from certain bank, as maybe because they want business.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they want to keep doing business, right? For sure. So you
Yeah.
say that that there are banks that basically the full application you can do from home, one full online application, including all signing and everything. That is what you're saying, that you can basically do a
Yes.
full application from home.
Yes, that means we don't have to meet customer upfront, because I'm sure out of 10 customers now, if you want to meet them, none will see us,
Yeah,
because they are a bit worried on this MCO, because
yeah.
the police is pretty strict now also.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Do you believe that, like, it would be interesting to look a little bit ahead right now that banks are forced to do online applications and force their clients and also like a mortgage consultant to put everything online? Once this MCO is over, do you think they go back to the old way that we have to do it like one-to-one, or do you think they are going to use this to process everything online for the future?
If you ask me, for the time being, they still need personal touch from bankers. But moving to the future, I believe certain bank, every customer can do the submission through online by themselves.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I was
In
saying,
fact, certain bank, yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
In
Sorry.
fact,
Yeah, go ahead.
about a year ago, there's a bank that actually they did try on these apps as well, where customer actually can submit their application through online.
Okay. Interesting. So, okay, let's look a little bit at the future, right? We are now in the third extension of the MCO. We don't know what's going to happen there. So let's not do any predictions, right? But let's do a little bit at the financial markets. Some people say that, okay, we start to see some control of this virus. Some countries are actually, the getting the reduced rate. In China, the people are out of a lockdown. They're allowed to go back on the streets again. That means that also the financial market, the business markets are starting to work again. But let's look a little bit, let's say to 6 to 12 months, what's going to happen. What do you, as a mortgage consultant, as a senior associate, foresee happening in the property industry for the next 6 to 12 months?
Okay. I foresee for the next 6 to 9 months, at least 80% of the sales will be from under construction property, as developers are very hungry for sales now. So from what I understand, a lot of developers are starting to throw a lot of rebates. Sales side will start to increase maybe from the 9 month onwards. This is because, why I say so is because a lot of desperate sellers now, actually, they can still hold on for another, because of this moratorium, they can hold on for 6 months. Then worst case scenario, they might be able to service for another 2 to 3 months. And after that, when there's no holding power, they have no choice but to let it go. So I foresee sub-sale will start moving from the 9 month onwards.
Interesting. So basically, the banks have created a certain holding power for the sub-sale market, what means that the rush on having to sell has been delayed basically for some time. That basically they are still in a comfortable situation. You don't see much effect yet on that sub-sale market until those 6 months are over. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, very good. Let's say, actually very interesting enough, before your years in the mortgage consultant, based on your introduction, you worked as a sales and marketing executive at the developer, right? So you also have that property knowledge, right? What advice would you give an agency or maybe just a real estate agent, right? Based on the current situation, what should they be focused on?
Okay, for those that are doing sub-sales, I would say it's a bit tough now. Okay, another alternative that they can look into will be from on the rental side. Cause like it or not, people, those who can't afford to buy a property, when they are renting a property and the tenancy due, they need to find a new property to rent. So I think property side, I mean, on terms of rental side, it will still move. Also, a lot of owner is trying to minimize their burden, and some will be very happy as long as they can rent it out. It would be better if they can shift their focus to under construction project for the coming 6 to 12 months, as it's easier to show customer around using the floor plan and layout from the model house, which nowadays, you can send through WhatsApp or PDF file. And another reason why I say it's easier to focus on under construction now is because of developer, they are giving a lot of rebates. So it's actually easier to sell, and the cost of purchasing a property is much lower compared to sub-sale.
Yeah.
Because normally when you buy from under construction, all the legal fee, MOT, everything usually is borne by the developer. Whereas if you go for sub-sale, on top of the 10% that you need to pay, you still need to pay for the stamp duty, legal fee, the valuation fee, and the MOT.
Yeah, yeah. So that brings me to a little side question, right?
Okay.
You also work with developers. Do you foresee that like developers are now already, looking at when this MCO is over, right? That everybody can go back into the market again. Do you feel that they are going to increase their marketing and offering into the market to kind of stimulate people buying just after the MCO? Do you think that will happen?
Yes, in fact, it's already happening now.
Yeah, it's already
Because
happening.
it's already happening. So if let's say, because every developer, they have their own sales target, and if they are unable to achieve it, the only option that they have is to throw in more rebates. So I believe, and MCO is over, if their target is far away, they'll be giving even more rebates.
Interesting. Okay, very good. Do you believe, like, you're a mortgage consultant, you talk to a lot of people that potentially want to buy, buyers that are looking, asking, what can they lend, what can they, what kind of property value can they buy? Do you believe that that people that were looking for properties should take advantage of this time, that if they have the liquidity and they have the money to step into the property market, do you think they should take advantage of a time like this?
Okay, I always there's a philosophy that I always hear that people say that there are bad times where people go bankrupt, and there are also bad times where people get rich. So even with the bank moratorium, it might not help some of the customer, especially those businessmen, as they might need the cash almost immediately, because they can't wait for 6 months. Okay, so therefore, if you say that for this group of investors that you mentioned earlier, that let's say if there are willing seller to let go on the price that this investor is requesting, I believe they will let it go. So yes, there are people who are still hunting for desperate seller at this current point of time.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, I cannot just think of. I didn't not so long ago. I watched that movie again. There's this great movie that so beautifully explains the financial crisis in the U.S., how that was set up. It's a movie called The Big Short. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's a movie with I think Brad Pitt is in there. Some other big stars are in there. Ryan Gosling, and they explain of this domino effect, right? Where there are so many mortgages already given out by banks, at a very high rate of loan. What people could actually lend. People having multiple properties. Now, this is maybe a little bit of a difficult question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because many of our viewers want to know where this is heading. Before we went into an MCO, we were already dealing with a pretty high, kind of an oversupply, what they were saying, on a certain, market range, oversupply. but it was from area to area, it was different, right? Also from different developers, right? Some developers were doing very well, some developers were doing very hard. Do you believe that, like, what is happening right now, that is only going to make it worse, or do you think banks and the government can keep that under control?
Well, if you ask me, it will go worse because after the MCO, we might need another at least 6 months to recover. Where for individual, when we take a loan, every month you have to pay for it. So for those who are on commission base, for example, let's say you have a sales, you only get your income after 2 or 3 months when the whole thing is executed. Where else the loan will be, chasing you for the installment every month. So it will definitely affect.
Yeah, definitely affect. Yeah. Obviously it will definitely affect, but I was like really thinking like really worse, or can they control that situation on, because, actually as we are speaking right now, I know that within Cornerstone, but, I don't know from other agencies, but in Cornerstone, there are actually transactions happening now. There are 3 people that are buying properties right now within the MCO, right? So I'm like, in Malaysia, somehow people always keep buying properties. Do you also believe that?
Yeah, because people always say the rich people get richer because some rich people, they're actually not affected by MCO at all.
Yeah.
Not everyone is affected. MCO actually affect a lot middle class and lower end people. For those high end, I think not much is affected.
Yeah.
Because most of them actually they are more on fixed income.
Yeah. Very good. Do you believe that the government is doing a good job at what we're seeing right now in Malaysia?
If you ask me, I think they are, to be honest, on the loan side, they are actually doing pretty well. I mean, with this, like I mentioned earlier, the moratorium is actually helping a lot of customers. In fact, when I share out this with a lot of my customers, they actually, whether they want to apply for it or not, out of 10, maybe 9 will apply for it.
Okay, so quite a big number is really applying for
affected,
that.
yes.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Let's talk about sellers a little bit. You already touched on it a little bit just now. Sellers. There are different types of people out there. Let's talk homeowners, right? People that have a home and need to pay monthly mortgage. Maybe they have multiple homes. Doesn't really matter, right? But in times like this, where the market is under pressure, many people say, if you can, try to hold it, right? Try to hold that property because the pressure on the market, that just brings the value down. But, let's say people were already putting their home up for sale. They already had it up for sale before the MCO started, right? Before this virus was spreading. What advice would you give them?
Okay. If I'm the seller who need to let go the property desperately, I will advise them to let go the property maybe 3 to 5% below the current market value. The reason being is because I foresee after the moratorium, price might drop even more when more owner is unable to hold on the property and they need to sell it desperately. So, the seller will be fighting among themselves. And for seller who have actually the holding power, you can actually consider to, rent your unit first to lesser down the burden till the market, recover further.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, very good. So basically, you will see that like you already said, that developers are giving out rebates, a little more discounts. You believe that if you're really desperately looking to sell, you are a homeowner on your property, you might have to also cut a little bit of your selling price.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Because a lot of people are trying to let go based on the market value. So ended up, there won't be any transaction until if there's, desperate seller, they might let go even lower. So if I am one of the desperate seller, I will let go maybe 3 to 5% below the current market value to make sure I'm the one to let it go first.
Yes. Yeah. Do you like maybe a strange question, but are you busy now? Like, are you getting a lot of sellers and buyers still reaching out to you, seeing what are the possibilities in this time right now?
Existing customer more. Buyer actually, they are asking on opinion whether to go in now or later part. But a lot existing customer actually called to us on the moratorium.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. They want to understand that relief a little bit of the last 6 months, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
because
really
normally
great.
existing, yeah, because normally existing customer, if they are investor, they will want to know, how long can they continue to hold or should they let it go now? So
Yeah.
they will be asking whether the moratorium will be, whether should they hold longer for the property price to increase or to let it go now.
Okay. So that moratorium, is that is for mortgages or that's for all loans?
It's actually for mortgages, any term loan and hire purchase.
Okay.
So actually, moratorium, since we are touching on this, I would advise, let's say, like just now, as I said earlier, for housing loan, if you can afford, you pay for your installment. You don't owe for this moratorium. But for hire purchase, you can actually take it. Because why? Hire purchase interest is fixed, which means the bank upfront already charged to you. So whether you take it or you don't take it, the interest that is charged to you is the same.
Yeah, true. Okay, that's actually a very good advice. Yeah, I actually got the question also from a partner company who asked me, like, are we not afraid that many people will take advantage of this 6 months relief, even though that they can pay it? And then I basically also said, yeah, but I think if you can pay it, you should pay it, because eventually you will still need to pay a cost on the interest if you don't pay it for those 6 months. That will eventually, at the later stage, you will have to pay the cost for paying later, basically, right? So if you really can pay right now, you should be paying it.
Yeah, yes.
Very good. Okay, well, Alvin, this is quite fun. This is going, we're getting some really great tips about the banks. Maybe a little funny question, an easy question in the middle, but I just came up into my mind. Is there something that we don't know that the banks are already doing? Are you? I mean, I know that you're very close connected with many different banks. Banks are known that they always try to look into the future, right? Is there anything that you could share that you think that the banks are busy with, or that they are preparing, or something on top of that moratorium that in the future will also possibly maybe be announced?
Okay, from what I noticed, actually, most banks are actually hunger for personal loan now because they need mortgage side income might drop, so they still need income to be generated in. So a lot of them is actually focusing on personal loan, and in order to win the market share, the only way that they can be more competitive is by reducing the interest rate. So from what I see for the past 2 weeks, most of the bank is actually focusing on personal loan and the interest rate is getting lower.
Yeah, it's definitely getting lower. Yeah, I saw that also. Do you foresee a big run on personal loans?
Yes. In fact, I can say maybe every 2 to 3 days, there are customers calling me to ask whether, I'm doing personal loan. But for me, myself, actually, I'm focusing on mortgage only.
Mortgage. Yeah.
A lot of clients are asking on personal loan now.
Yeah. Do you believe that is purely that they really need it, or is it more that you say because that interest is so low, that means that they can lend money very cheap, so just to be sure they're getting in extra cash because they don't know what is happening for the future?
There's actually two types of customers. One of them is they desperately need because they doesn't know after the 6 month moratorium whether the bank will extend further or anything, and if they didn't, if they need to service the installment. So the reason they borrow this personal loan is as a cash as a standby. Where else another group of customers are those who they actually rich, but due to the interest rate like you mentioned earlier, they are actually taking the advantage of it to borrow as a standby to see if there's any opportunity for them to go in.
Yeah.
So they're actually borrowing now, and if they see the market crash or anything, they will use these funds to buy a property.
Okay, that's very interesting. That's that's those two types of clients I also had a little bit of in mind. Yeah, the ones that really need it, and the ones that are kind of preparing for what is coming into the future, right?
Yes.
I have two final questions, Alvin, and then I will let you go. I don't want to take too much of your time on a Sunday evening, right?
Okay.
Here at Cornerstone, we have a lot of agents. A lot of agents deal with projects, sub-sales. Many of these agents, are very close connected with their clients, right? And one of the questions that they get from their clients is like, sometimes these agents call and they say, listen, I want to explain to you that yes, there's a crisis, but at the same time, there is also a lot of opportunities in the market, right? Like you said, in a crisis, people get very badly hit, they get poor, but there's also people that get rich because they leverage on that recovery, right? So if an agent would come to you, right, and said, hey, my client is asking me, why should I potentially have to buy at this time, right? From a financial perspective or from a perspective as a mortgage consultant, what would you advise a real estate agent to answer to their clients if they ask, why should I buy right now?
Okay. Normally, if an agent call me to ask on this, how do I actually advise the customer? I mean, how to reply on the investor on why should you buy now is because if you ask me, the market price now is actually, no, we don't mention about MCO. Actually, the property price is quite low. Now, as I mentioned earlier, since early of this year, property price is pretty low. So MCO might, the price might not reduce further, it might be stagnant. So some people, they were thinking that MCO might have a, more discount on that. Yes, there's opportunity on this, but it's not confirmed. So we doesn't know that whether the price will really go down after MCO or not. So if you ask me, actually, even before MCO, there are people who are struggling to pay for their mortgages. And it doesn't only impact on us in Malaysia. Actually, a lot of countries are facing this. That's why you see Bank Negara base rate keep dropping. And this year itself, we already dropped twice.
Yeah, true. Yeah, also happened before. Okay, very interesting. So that just brings me to a kind of a second question that I just want to glue on this one. In China, that the lockdown is over. I don't know if you also noticed that or if you read that, but in China, they see an amazing recovery right now in the property market, that actually the sales transactions in the major 30 cities in China has been recovering quite steadily, right? Do you expect something like that in Malaysia also to happen? The moment that we are allowed to go outside, Malaysians just start buying properties again. Do you think that is going to happen?
Yeah, it will happen, but not as fast as China because, as you know, China, they have a lot of cash flow. Where else over here, yes, there are people who are, very rich, but there are people who are especially those middle income, they will still buy, but normally when they buy, they are more on the careful stage. Where else for China, most of them is, if there's available on property, they will buy it straight away.
Yeah.
So it definitely will increase on the sales once this MCO is over.
Wonderful. Well, I think that is the good news that we need to hear here at our property live session here with Cornerstone, right? That is what agents want to know, that at least those transactions will come back up again. But I think, with an MCO, it cannot be worse than whatever is with an MCO, right? Whatever happens after the MCO would only increase towards the positive, right? Meaning more transactions, more people looking for opportunities, more, because I always learned from one of my mentors, he said, that the whole world can be in a crisis, but capital will always move, money will always move, whatever direction that is, right? So I think, especially Malaysia, that has been a country that always has been what we like to call property positive. They will definitely start looking into those opportunities again. Would you agree?
Yes, 100% agree.
100% agree. Okay. Hey, I just have one final question for you, Alvin. You have been such an amazing guest for us. You have been so clear and transparent on every single question that I've asked you. Is there any final message or maybe advice that you would like to give to our audience?
Okay. Tough time, there are people who fall, and there are people who succeed as well. So while a lot of people are staying at home as they think that there's nothing much can be done during this MCO, agents who are actually more aggressive, right, they will tend to benefit from this, as the number of people who share the same piece of cake in the market now are lesser. So, for example, let's say maybe last time to sell a property, there are 10 agents selling it. So a lot of people are staying at home now. So maybe 5 are working. So actually, the cake is, it will be distributed to lesser people now. And for investor, if you ask me, this will be a good year for you to take the move, seeing that the current economy market, as well as the bank interest rate, which is pretty low. In fact, since I joined the bank, this current rate, as they can go as low as 3.9, is very low compared to when I first joined. The lowest interest rate was 6.15.
Wow. Yeah,
so this will be my advice.
Wonderful, Alvin. Thank you so much. That is really great advice, and also, yeah, something to build on, right? Good foundation to keep moving forward. I definitely hope also that your business will keep moving forward. I'm quite sure that your clients are asking you for a lot of advice at this time, things like that. But just to make sure that also our audience, can stay in business, can stay in contact with Alvin. How can they, is there any way where they can find you? Where can they find the 𝐒𝐻_strong? How can they get access to 𝐒𝐻_strong or to you personally? Is there any simple way that they can reach out to you?
You can actually email to me, or maybe through Facebook.
To Facebook, they can find you, or they can email. Now, we will make sure within Cornerstone that they will get your contact, because you have just been, like I said, you know a lot about this site, and I think it's good for them to, at least if they have any clients or anybody, that they can be able to reach out to you. So thank you so much. That does bring us to an end of this session. I have no more questions left. I had loads of questions, and Alvin was able to answer everything very fast and everything very smoothly. I just would like to thank our audience for today, but I would especially like to thank Mr. Alvin Lim to be with us on Sunday evening, during Easter even, spending some time with us and answering all the questions. So Alvin, thank you so much.
Thank you for your time as well.
Yeah, of course. If you want to know more about Alvin or anything, we will share the contacts and everything. Feel free to share this Facebook Live to your clients, to your friends, to your family, because Alvin has given us some great information about the banking sector and how do banks fight the crisis. We have a good idea right now. That does bring us to an end of tonight. We have a new session tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. We will be back to you. We have a very special guest called 𝐵𝐸𝐶𝐻𝐻. He's a very good friend of mine. He is a director of Asia of the company called Leading Real Estate Companies of the World. Is a big networking company where there are more than 130,000 real estate agents are member of that network company. They are represented in more than 90 countries, and he will give us a little bit more of the global real estate market is being affected by by Corona. Of course, it's affected not only Malaysia but everywhere in the world. 𝐵𝐸𝐶𝐻 has a lot of contacts and will be able to give us a lot of information. So I'll see you back again tomorrow at 8 p.m. For now, I'm wishing you an amazing Sunday evening. Rest well. Have a happy Monday morning, and see you again tomorrow. Thank you again, Alvin. See you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Goodbye.